twist. I think Marcel Proust gave us the best way to view the world about 100 years ago. Proust tells the story of a young man that's living in Paris in the wintertime. Now, if you've been to Paris in the wintertime, it's not the city of lights. Paris is a beautiful place no matter when you go, but in the wintertime it's overcast, it's dreary, it's cold. So it's overcast, it's dreary, it's cold, and the young man's old enough to be living on his own, but he's living with his parents. And they're of poor quality, they're in the wrong side of Paris, the wallpaper's peeling off the wall, they got food, it's of poor quality, it's overcast, it's cold, it's weary. He's sitting there feeling sorry for himself. Everybody hates me, nobody likes me, guess I ought to go eat worms kind of attitude. So Proust takes the young man, takes him to the Louvre, one of the world's great art treasures. But instead of taking him to see the grand masters of art, the Mona Lisa, for example, takes him instead to a side gallery where you can see the paintings of an obscure French painter by the name of Jean-Baptiste Chardin. Now, if you're familiar with Chardin's work, he painted in vivid colors, but he painted very simple things. A peasant woman in the field, a bowl of apples, a loaf of bread, a fish. And Proust says to the young man, you know, there's every bit as much beauty in a loaf of bread as there is in the Mona Lisa. And then he says to him, it is, after all, the quality of the visionary that matters, not the vision. Visions are visions, trends are trends, everybody sees them, or do they? Okay? It's the quality of how you see it. There's an old expression at the university, there's 2 lectures given. The one we think we give, and the one the students heard. But I maintain there's as many lectures given as there are people in the audience, because every one of them heard it with their own filters. Come on, folks, if you're in love or on your honeymoon, that sunrise, oh, it's so pretty. But if you got a hangover and the sun is crashing through your eyelids, it ain't no fun, okay? But it's the same sunrise. It's the same sunrise. It's the quality of how we see it that matters. Be weird with me today and understand and put a twist to it. I'm just going to share 3 trends with you. I think 3 trends. The human mind, neurologists tell us, despite the fact that we say we can multitask and we can handle lots of things, the human mind can handle about 3 things at one time really well. I'm just going to break them down. 3 things. Within one of them, there'll be several, but I'm going to talk about 3 things. And first and foremost, this first one's going to be about economics. Now, the interesting thing about it, and I don't know about you, but I love Bill's comments. Bill, that was outstanding. I want to hire you to come to the United States because, let me tell you, buddy, nobody in the States talks about that stuff. It's always whining and moaning and crying. Everybody hates us. Oh, my God, it's terrible. We're just dying. It's a terrible economy. You know, the difference between a dog and an economist at your back door is when you let them both in, the dog quits whining. And that's what I loved about you, Bill. You didn't whine. You just stood up, said, guess what? Get over it. Grow up. You cannot live on the North American continent, move here or be part of it and have any sense of history in the last 5,000 years and not be an optimist. Because we have weathered every storm, we've done everything, and we've given more opportunities to more people on this planet than has ever existed, and you've done it in this country and we've done it in the United States. And if you're not an optimist, get over it and start being one. Because guess what? It is positive, it's growing, and it's an interesting thing. You folks, come on, you Canadians, my gosh. You got $2 trillion sitting around in cash. Cash. That means you can spend it. $2 trillion. You keep good records so we know it's damn close to $2 trillion. Okay? In the United States, I was telling a group, I think in the United States we got $7 trillion. And they go, and so I'm on a program though, and another conference says, well, quit telling people it's $7 trillion. We don't think it's $7 trillion. I think it's $9.7 trillion. That's a big difference. 9.77? Then another economist told me, Lowell, quit telling people it's 7 trillion, 9.7 trillion. I think it's 4 trillion. 4 trillion, 7 trillion, 9.7. I don't know. Okay. It's a lot. Then I was on a program doing some work with the Federal Reserve. These people that print our money, keep track of it, understand it. So I'm thinking, I'm going to get the answer. So being a college professor, I said, guys, is it A, 9.7 trillion, B, 7 trillion, C, 4 trillion, D, none of the above, E, all of the above? And they told me, yes. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know whether it's 4 trillion, 7 trillion, 9.7. We do know you got about 2 trillion. We know the Australians have about 1 trillion. We know Europe has 8 trillion. We know the Japanese have 4 trillion. What I'm trying to tell you is, guess what? There is more money on this planet sitting around not knowing what the hell to be done with than at any time in history. You should have some of it. I understand my father's generation didn't. My father's generation, who went through the Great Depression, World War II, 90% of life was maintenance. They struggled to just have a little. And now, guess what? There is more idle cash on this planet than has ever existed in history. It's the most phenomenal opportunity. The point of it all is, though, it's this one. Money changes people. You know, my father's generation that didn't have much, into World War II. World War II. We quit manufacturing automobiles, 1942. Next model year was 1946. December of 1945, we started manufacturing them again. And if you offered to my father's generation a four-door olive drab Chevrolet, what did they say? We'll take it. Glad to get it. Thank you very much. Didn't have any. If I offered you a four-door olive drab Chevrolet today, you know what you'd do? And you know that's a French expression for, no, we don't want it. Okay? Okay? Don't want it. Okay? Because guess what? My father's generation was trying to build a production economy, and guess what? We have built a production economy. We know how to build things. Bill laid it out eloquently to you. We know how to do it, and we know how to do it so efficiently that the average per cost of each unit keeps going down and down and down in the world. We're real good at producing things, and guess what? As people get more money, guess what? They don't want four-door olive drab Chevrolets. I'll tell you the way my mother told me when I was age 13. People bitch the loudest when their belly's full. Now, bitching's an old Texan term for complaining real bad. You know, when you're hungry, kidney pie is pretty good. When you get your belly full, what do we start doing? Oh, I don't want kidney pie anymore. Steak tartare. Whatever in the hell that is. We start, in marketers' term, differentiating or segmenting. My father's generation were happy to be a part of a production economy, happy to take mass goods, and guess what? The production economy is gone, and in its place is something called the consumption or the consumer economy. And let me tell you something, as people get more money, you think they're going to bitch more or less? We want to differentiate. We want to segment. You do financial planning for my father's generation. It was basically what? Little term life, you're fixed. Term life is a great product, but wait a minute. You got to do a little bit more today, because guess what? We're weirder. Okay? And getting weirder all the time. It's called money changes people. Into World War II, 51 sovereign nations. Today there's 206. Into World War II, you could classify 90% of the world's population, 7 belief systems. Today, to get 90% of the world's population, it takes 2,000. Because as we get more money, we start differentiating or segmenting. Not wrong or right, we're just weirder. Okay? And folks, guess what? As I get weirder, that money makes a difference. If you don't understand it, I don't have any PowerPoint today. I'm my own PowerPoint, okay? I'm just going to be weird with you, okay? 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 But let me put it in another way for the money for just a second, okay? Baby boomers. Over 1/3 of your population. Okay? Baby boom generation. You have the largest percentage of baby boomers of any country on the planet, okay? Baby boomers. In Canada, numbers just came out. 54% more income adjusted for inflation than their parents had at the same point in their life. 54% more. Pretty good. But that's the income side. Wait a minute, what happened? You got 54% more money here in Canada. It's 52 in the United States. You got 54% more than your parents had at the same point in life adjusted for inflation. But wait a minute, into World War II, we quit manufacturing war goods, started manufacturing consumer goods. What's happened to the average real price that makes your life better? Dishwashers, washing machines, color television sets. What's happened to the average real price? It's gone down. The average person that Statistics Canada calls low income has 2.3 color television sets here. The average person that is not low income has 2.4. Okay? You can only watch so damn much of that stuff. Okay? Do you understand what my arms are telling you? You got 54% more money and you don't spend jack to have a nice life? And then in 1969, you used to spend 1/3 of your income to eat. And you brag to the world, we spend 1/3 of our disposable income to eat. The rest of the world spending 2/3. What's happened since then? My arms are long. I cannot reach above this. So obviously it is 10%. You with me? 54% more money. You don't spend jack to eat. You don't spend jack to have a nice life. The difference is called disposable income. Never been higher. Gee, do I need a financial planner?